Adoa TV, bringing good things to life.
Third day of the Heritage Month. Time check is 1800 GMT. Hello there, good evening and welcome. This is the evening news bulletin on Adoa Television. We're live all across the world on TV and online from digital address GA2262651. We're also live on digital channel 37 and 38. Thank you for choosing us. My name is Naa Anyemaa Collison. Let's move straight to our top stories for this evening. In our top stories this evening, Honorable Kwabena Akando, Member of Parliament for Duabosum constituency, has charged Ghanaians to fast and pray against the passage of the now controversial e-levy. In a bid to rebuild Apieti community after its demolition, the National Lottery Authority, among other two institutions, have contributed to the Apieti Development Fund. In some more local stories, we will look at landmarks here in Accra where you probably don't know such history. Also in business this evening, liquefied petroleum gas has seen a price increment of 5%. You want to stay with us because details of these and many others coming up in a jiffy. Please be my guest. Well, let's start off from the Vice President because His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, speaking at the launch, made it known that the independent variation of gold export in Ghana was part of the Akufo-Addo-led administration vision in 2017. This was necessary to ensure that the country generates revenue from such its rich mineral resources, hence the commissioning and the launch of Assay Laboratory.
As you are aware, government is already transforming the governance of various sectors of Ghana's economy through digitalization. Digitalization drive is a key component of the overall economic strategy because the fourth industrial revolution is upon us and Ghana must take advantage of it if we are not to be left behind. The digitalization drive of government is spreading to cover many sectors of the national economy. And one area where government has made significant inroads is to address the issue of the efficiency of public service delivery and checking of corruption. And our approach to improving the delivery of public services is to minimize human contact as much as possible. Consequently, we have embarked on an aggressive digitalization of the processes of service delivery across many public institutions. And I'm happy to indicate that the launch of the digitalized National Assay Laboratory today is a major addition to government's portfolio of digital initiatives already implemented. So, ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, President Nana Akufo-Addo directed that government identifies a way to independently verify gold exports in order to ensure that the country obtains revenue from its precious mineral resources. Following several engagements with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and the Association of Gold Exporters, now Chamber of Bullion Traders, Ghana, modalities for the smooth takeoff of the National Assay Program were put in place. I'm informed that as part of measures to optimize revenue and ultimately maximize the benefits from our natural resources, the silver identified in the gold dory, which is exported, shall soon be quantified and the appropriate tax levied and collected from the same. The government, under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, recognizes that our progress as a nation in the modern world is inextricably linked to digitalization and will therefore continue its adoption for the enhanced service delivery. It is a critical path for our nation to remain competitive in the world of today and tomorrow. Digitalization has also now made it possible to monitor in real time gold exports passing through the assay laboratory. And I think what we were shown here visibly tells you how important and how informative this whole digitalization process is, because it provides data in real time. Additionally, it has improved collation of timely data on gold export figures and revenues in order to aid national economic planning.
President, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia speaking in that report. The let's shift focus from the presidency, because the Apieti Support Fund Committee has on Wednesday, 2nd March 2022, received donations from the National Petroleum Authority. The Director of Operations for the National Petroleum Authority, Mr. George Jemfi Osei, during the presentation, gave a cash amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis as their contribution towards the rebuilding of the Apietin community.
The Apiachi Support Fund Committee has on Wednesday, 2nd March 2022, received donations from the National Lottery Authority, NLA, the West African Institute of Mining, Metallurgy and Petroleum, and Women in Mining. The Director of Operations for National Lottery Authority, Mr. George Jemfi Osei, during the presentation, gave a cash amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis as their contribution towards the rebuilding of the Apiachi community. He disclosed that, aside their main mandate, which is to deposit enough money into the Consolidated Fund for National Development, they also have the mandate to raise revenue to help the less privileged and destitute in society. What has happened in Apiachi goes beyond less privileged or destitute in society. It looks like a war when there has been no war, so we are happy to support such a good cause coming from our Good Cause Foundation. He opined that, as an organization that believes in developing and supporting people, a tragedy such as this demands that they also step in to contribute the little they can to help other institutions to join in with their contributions, which will equip the support fund with abundant funds and also complement government's efforts to rebuild the community. As their contribution towards the reconstruction of the Apiachi community, the West African Institute of Mining, Metallurgy and Petroleum presented a check of 90,000 Ghana cedis to the Apiachi Support Fund Committee. The president of the institute, Professor Daniel Mrekujima, who was accompanied by Executive Secretary Mr. Lawrence Omari Mensah, took the chance to herald their role in society in conjunction with the Mining Act. Will support the people of Apiachi and provide enough to bring smiles to the faces of the people, even as they go through the long and painful journey of recovery. Mr. Mensah promised, "We are willing to provide every service we can, both knowledge transfer and skill development, while extending a token of friendship to the community." Women in Mining Ghana, in their presentation, made a donation worth 25,000 Ghana cedis, with 15,000 as relief items and 10,000 Ghana cedis check. Speaking on behalf of the delegation, Mrs. Roger Sechiado, the president of Women in Mining said, aside these donations, they are also working tirelessly to ensure they provide the women in the community with a sustainable source of livelihood. She said they will work hand in hand with WIAM to ensure the dream of providing a good source of livelihood for the women in Apiache. Reverend Dr. Joyce Jocelyn Ayi, the chairman of the Apiache Support Fund Committee, who also doubles as the chairman for Women in Mining Ghana, received a donation from all donor companies, applauding them for the generous gesture. She also applauded Ghanaians for the support given so far and urged all stakeholders to uphold the spirit of patriotism and also ready to help lifestyle. She said this to keep Ghana together and continue to make our nation great and strong. Dr. Joyce Ayi, in her capacity as the chairman of Women in Mining, said, "Women in mining are going to do beyond this contribution. We are willing to help them and introduce livelihoods that are more strategic and sustainable to make a difference, especially for women and children." In her submissions, Dr. Ayi mentioned that correct engineering and electro-tax engineering companies have on separate occasions donated 5,000 Ghana cedis each to the fund.
From the Apiati community, let's put our focus in the August House because the Member of Parliament for Jiaboso constituency, Honorable Kwabena Minta Kando, has charged Ghanaians to fast and pray against the majority in Parliament, having it all numbers to approve the controversial electronic transfer levy bill. According to him, the only way the bill would be approved is for the MPP to marshal all its 137 members of parliament, I beg your pardon, plus the independent member of parliament, I beg your pardon, for the Fomina constituency to the chamber, since the minority will never lend its support to it. He was speaking during the commissioning of a health facility at the new Somenya in the Jiaboso district.
The e-levy seeks to impose a 1.75% levy on transactions, including mobile money transfers done between accounts on the same electronic money issuers, mobile money transfers from accounts on one EMI to a recipient on another EMI, transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts either directly, GIP debits, bank cards or another scheme, transfers from mobile money accounts to bank accounts either directly, GIP debits, bank cards or another scheme, and bank transfers originating from a bank account belonging to an individual. But the introduction of the bill has been met with stiff opposition from well-meaning Ghanaians, including the NDC, who argue it will further compound the hardships of the ordinary Ghanaian. The government has, however, assured that a revised bill will be relayed in Parliament after its town hall meeting, which is explaining to the general populace the rationale behind the introduction of the levy. The laying of the revised bill has suffered some postponement as the governing NPP is unable to marshal all its numbers at the commissioning event of a community-based health planning services compound with essential medical equipment and supplies worth 250,000 Ghana cedis and a cash donation to aid residents of New Somanya in the Jiaboso district who trekked some 2 hours before accessing medical care. He solicited the views of constituents on whether to approve or reject the controversial e-levy.
No akwata parliament na se kwa kokontokwa na ntokwa ye ko ye no ne ye boga na mra eho ban ne ye bowo ho ban nti ene se mo fi said yi levy no me kwa me kwaji ntumu a mo kan che na me kwaji ntumu ne kwa aha mo na mo de me koye se mo si yi levy no maba hey ni so miafo mo se akando mo ne de ko parliament nti fi na ko kwa kwaji yi levy ntumu a mo kan che na me kwaji ntumu.
Mr. Akando charged them to fast and pray so that the NPP doesn't have its full complement in Parliament to enable them approve the controversial e-levy.
Well, as you know, I'm their representative. I'm representing them in Parliament, and
intermittently I come back to brief them about the proceedings in the House. So today was an opportunity for me to brief them about the e-levy. And so from the response I gathered, it is their hope that this e-levy never be passed. And the only way this e-levy will never be passed is for the MPP not to have their full complement. And so it's a genuine prayer. Yes, it's a genuine prayer. Some of them should fast. Fast to do what? To pray that the MPP in Parliament will never have their full complement in order to pass the e-levy. It's a genuine prayer, and I stand by it.
Minta Kando is a member of parliament for Jiaboso constituency. In March, we learn, explore, eat, drink, wear, and do anything Ghana. You might know the iconic Jamestown Lighthouse. However, 3 meters away from an edifice dotted along the high street, which you may have seen, but have no knowledge of it for many times. Here is the story behind the first water fountain and a gravestone. If you use the high streets regularly, I'm sure you might have come across where I am sitting. I'm sure you might have noticed where I am sitting. I am sitting close to the lighthouse here in Jamestown and also on a water fountain that was put together by the then governor of the Gold Coast in 1910. But what is the history behind it? Let's go into the community and ask if the residents even know the reason why this was put together, or they even have a knowledge about it. "20 steps away from the stone fountain for water is this edifice. I'm sure you have less knowledge about it." Gokotsman, Sojan, slave master. He's a soldier man, a Ghanaian soldier man.
Yeah, I'm free. I'm a 2 months here. I'm a try and bar now. Toilet. On a good enough for
I can't know me no
good can be our pull off me.
This was a grave by one of the slave masters. But let's know what is written here. I seem not to get the exact thing, but it was put together in 1922. I'm sure this will be the name for the slave master. Contractor. It has very least information, but to the best of my knowledge, this is a grave of one slave master. Okay. That over there, on 10 years, no meaning.
Fi no kunima nijo mi nijo spoon ni ba ni ge awako ajoma ta awako ba ni
Ile kenjemo na kaini ile akeshi fountain, water fountain ni Accra fe. Nijo spoon ni afi no guamano ni good range. But it seems most of them do not know what is being used for and why it was here. The inscription reads that this stone forming the foundation of a drinking water fountain to commemorate the inauguration of the construction of the Accra Water Works. It was laid by His Excellency Sir John, Governor of the Gold Coast in 1910. As we celebrate the Ghana Month on Adoa television, I took the opportunity to know the history behind it and to also educate you, in case you don't know, that this water fountain was way back put together in 1910 by the then Gold Coast governor. As we celebrate the Ghana month, I take the opportunity to educate you, in case you don't know but might have seen this structure from years back. For Adoa News, my name is Naa Anyemaa Collison, Jamestown, Accra. Still keep our focus on the Ghana month because beads are the fundamental part of the Ghanaian heritage. Not only are they a testament to the vibrance of the Ghanaian creativity, but they also play a significant role in the country's history, rituals and culture. As we journey on the Heritage Month, my colleague Elizabeth Kofi of the news team shows the spotlight on African beads.
Been a part of Western African culture for a very long time. Over the past decades, many locals began to consider beads as slightly old-fashioned. A visit to a bead seller here in Accra revealed a lot of hidden meanings to the many beads we see, like crystal, awarepa, and light off is just but a few.
Light off. Now not wash sa. And no, that's light off no. That Christian. No, when the light off no. But that be way free and Christian. Nikit one in. Where can say where it was? Pacho, you were worried for the Maba for so dear. Bachan. I for the one. I'm the second you without the one man. Obiwa, or to me talk Christian. Maybe so bad, Mamma, so much to talk. No, dear.
And did you know that some beads are reserved for some people in the traditional African society, and not all beads are suitable for ceremonies like marriage?
Amamre, Amamre. Ukroma membre, Amara obey and win a dear. Ukon, Unai, Unsa, Nedish. I'm not sure what the tone I know on Sasana, and my own would have I would say an answer. Oh, say, we and Crania, we shall a mamre beer, we are a hinny, or hima, Ganya Marie, Gongafe Babagam. Echo call we manche, a wueco, manye, wueco. Now, Pacho, a year means any fast one. Ya, just so be our and a friend Christa, and will be a share. When you are Christa.
Luckily, their popularity is growing again. They are getting more and more attention among collectors, jewelry makers, and everyone who loves and appreciates their captivating beauty in and outside of Africa. Here is more to the beads than you know.
Oh, yes, we are bad, we don't shine it. A shed in your ways. We are by our own share. Now we see any fine. Yes. Who phone so about who phone? Yes. You will be at the tree and son, we will send you inside the enemy. We saw the two star. Now, when we find a sign, I will let you see we never walk on. And then, also at least as a lady shane son. Now, back on my Penu. Yes, I did. Obia the two. Yes. Oh, Obia life, wait me. Obey a membrane to a one year. Obi crowd pioneer, until onko baby a wo ko baby a ne danikun.
And oh, we cannot talk about beads without telling you one of the main reasons why African women do wear them. Men are the main objective of attraction when it comes to beads wearing for women. For some men, they say it's sexually arousing, and if a woman comes by without it, they are likely to walk them out.
Oh, your friend says.
Pacho, your friend Alex Kwamwa.
I am doing a don't share or I mean, yes, I mean, open and say, oh, ma.
I mean, the manager hopa or mahopa. Can't say I mean, I can see no. Now, Osho Benesis now, who need Gusua, and my Bema, one cacos ropa. Enter a manager who nobody always having the Alabama Pamo from them.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Cause no church and many at home cabu. Yahundi and Mecondopa, me papa.
Okay, fine, but now I said, we are nanny,
your nanny, you come there, the Mempecula, me permisi in the Sisimudiano, and many boss on them we say, our Simbia Gume.
Now, but you wouldn't marry any din, the Operunim Nidin.
I mean, the room may be
a bit
the light of a bit in the Ahina Pancasa. And this is managing Hopa.
The light of any Ahina Pancasa, then I'll pay.
Okay, light off radio. I know they are managing home. Actually, I say you do light Klana, a timid light. I'm when you toss her to me, be been a go on.
It's what I'm me at that chair, a way the pain, or you're what I'm near that chair pain.
I'm a lady, I'm talking a man, I know a minimum man, so I'm to be mamma the command. I'm also, I share so many general pass so.
The history and heritage of Ghanaian beads are also protected by the Ghana Beads Society. The first of its kind in Africa, the society is recording, preserving, and promoting the culture of Ghanaian beads. The majority of beads produced come from the Ashanti and Krobo people in the Ashanti and Eastern region respectively, who occupy areas of Afram Place, Ikrapim Mountains, among others. The craft is often based on a family tradition, and know-how is passed on from one generation to another. Using mainly handmade techniques, beads often have unique design and charm. Welcome to Africa. Welcome to Ghana.
Just join us. You are watching the evening news bulletin on Adoa television. We are going for a quick breather. When we come back, we'll come with the latest in the Parliament House.
City is a manufacturer and supplier of high-quality fashion accessories. We design and make quality bow ties, flying ties, lapel pins, ladies' brooches, fabric necklaces, African wares, and so much more for your weddings, schools, institutions, bands, choir, singing groups, individuals, and so many more. We use both African prints and foreign fabrics to make your beautiful accessories for you. Oh yeah! Contact us via call or WhatsApp or SMS on 0240-926-564. Locate us at Odoko Official Town opposite Emils Preparatory School. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Blue City Fashion. Blue City, creativity and style.
For staying, let's do some other stories now. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abuji Napo, who was on the floor of Parliament to answer questions by members of the August House, held a press briefing to highlight some specific matters of his presentation. Tropical among his presentation was the Apieti Investigative Committee. Addressing the press, the minister says the committee, which was headed by Professor Richard Amankwa, is looking at the whole health and safety of the mining sector and also to make recommendations. He added that the committee's report will be ready in the next few weeks and the ministry would carefully implement the report's recommendations.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the press, let me first of all thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak to the matters which took place on the floor of Parliament today. A range of questions were posed to me as the Minister responsible for lands and natural resources. And in accord with the highest standards of transparency and indeed in accordance with the principles of democratic accountability, we appeared before the House and did answer all the questions. Indeed, a question was posed about the Apieti incident and what were the recommendations and findings of the committee and whether or not we will publish the report of the investigative committee. And in our response, we provided to the House the 6 fundamental infractions of LI 2177 by the company at the center of this incident, Maxam Company Limited. And indeed, we'll furnish you with all the 6 infractions. And this is really out of the abundance of transparency. We provided it to the House and also indicated to the House the recommendations which were made. And the most fundamental of the recommendations was that we set up a committee to review the entire health and safety regime of the mining sector in our country. And as many of you are aware, on my authority as the minister responsible for the sector and pursuant to Section 101 of the Minerals and Mining Act 206 at 703, I've since established a ministerial committee of inquiry under the chairmanship of Professor Richard Amankwa, the distinguished academic and intellectual of the Park Grant University of Science of Mining in Mines and Technology. And they are to look at the whole health and safety regime of the mining sector, make recommendations to the government as they relate to legislative, policy and other reforms they deem fit. So that work is ongoing, and in the coming weeks, the committee will be presenting its report to us, and we definitely will implement the recommendations of the committee.
Stay in the August House because the Nsawam Adwejiri Member of Parliament, Frank Anodompre, has demanded that the Public Interest and Accountability Committee immediately apologize to him, government and the Municipal Assembly for an inaccurate report on the market that it was supposed to be built by in the municipality. According to the report, no market has been constructed at the constituency, although the amount of 920,354 Ghana cedis has been paid for the project. Speaking to the parliamentary press on the issue, the majority chief whip said he suggested 3 places, namely in Sawam and Akotoje, and the Special Development Initiative Ministry for the construction of the market. However, the construction could not materialize because of the issues with the site. He stressed the people of Nsawam Adwejiri are very decided with the issue of corruption.
It's all about a PIAG report which I have shared with you, and I need to set the record straight. So let me begin by giving you a bit of a background. I recall about 2 years back, I engaged the Special Development Authority on the need for a market shed to be constructed in my constituency. So originally, I had suggested 3 venues. And these three are, or were, the Insumia, a suburb in Insaom Adredri, the Insaom township itself, and Otukwejo. These were the three original places I suggested to the Special Development Authority. Okay, so you know MPs don't award contracts. Eventually we'll have to go through the assembly and the procurement processes would have to be dispensed of before it is awarded. There was a challenge. It was communicated to me, I must be fair to them. There was a challenge with places like Insumia in terms of site, and then Otukwejo. Then we were only able to confirm for Insaom. So to some extent I had forgotten about this market for the other two places that was originally suggested, only for me to see this news item making the rounds from, I think, PIAC, a report from PIAC, and it's been shared extensively. What they are basically saying is that, okay, so we said we were going to construct a market at Otukwejo. They did not even mention Insumia. And we failed to construct it, and yet monies have been paid. I think this is the trust of the concern, and that's where I want to focus my address. So I checked. I took time to check certificates that were raised. The raised certificates for two sheds that were constructed at what do you call it, Insaom, is specifically opposite PW. Anybody who knows Insaom, opposite the PWD, it is supposed to be a fitting shop. Even there, we had a difficulty relocating the mechanics there. So two sheds has been constructed. Each of the sheds has 24 cubicles. So we have 48 cubicles constructed. And I'm told a certificate was raised, and some 623,000 has been paid for work done. So 48 market cubicles were constructed, two sheds comprising of 48 cubicles, a water system, and a storage facility. So don't worry about all these. Bottom line is that Otukwejo never benefited from a market shed, obviously because we could not agree on a venue for the market. So the PIAC report is quite mischievous, and I don't know why they would not do their cross-checking before they come on the public. So I demand of the PIAC, they should come out and do the correction and render an unqualified apology for the pain they've caused the assembly. We are very diligent. In Insaom Adredri assembly staff, they are very diligent, and they will not condone with any act of corruption or abet any act to engage any hand dealings as a way of siphoning money and resources from the state.
Speaking in that report is Member of Parliament for Insaom Adredri constituency, Honorable Frank Anot-Dompre. That was a report by our parliamentary correspondent, Reginald Adi. Stay with us for the latest in business. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwanda, fly the dream of Africa.
Blue City is a manufacturer and supplier of high-quality fashion accessories. We design and make quality bow ties, flying ties, lapel pins, ladies' brooches, fabric necklaces, African wares, and so much more for your weddings, schools, institutions, bands, choir, singing groups, individuals, and so many more. We use both African prints and foreign fabrics to make your beautiful accessories for you. Oh yeah! Contact us via call or WhatsApp or SMS on 0240 926 564. Locate us at Odoko Official Town opposite Emils Preparatory School. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Blue City Fashion. Blue City, creativity and style.
Thank you for staying. Let's do the latest in the world of business. The National Petroleum Authority says discussions are ongoing with the Ministries of Finance and Energy to find the manageable solution for the persistent rise in fuel prices. It said the deliberations will focus largely on the possible removal of some taxes on petroleum products. But head of pricing at the NPA, Ibrahim Tasunti, maintains that the situation can be blamed largely on the current happenings on the global oil economy. Thus, the government would have to play a critical role in making instances to cushion consumers. The National Petroleum Authority says discussions are ongoing with the Ministries of Finance and Energy to find a manageable solution to the persistent rise in fuel prices. It said the deliberations will focus largely on the possible removal of some taxes on petroleum products. But the head of pricing at NPA, Ibrahim Abbas Tasunti, maintains that the situation can be blamed largely on the current happenings on the global oil economy. Thus, government will play a very critical role in cushioning its citizens. Fuel prices at some fuel stations have crossed the 8 Ghana cedi per litre mark in the first week of March 2022, with predictions that the commodity will sell at 9 Ghana cedis per litre by the close of the month. Meanwhile, the Institute for Energy Security is also predicting a 4% increase in the prices of liquefied petroleum gas, diesel and petrol at the pumps in the first pricing window of March. A barrel of burnt crude oil, which was going for about 66 United States dollars a year ago and 78 United States dollars at the start of 2022, jumped 7.3% to 103.9 United States dollars a barrel in February 2022. News this evening, liquefied petroleum gas LPG prices has experienced a 5% adjustment from today, March 3, 2022. This follows the restoration of the price stabilization and recovery levy on fuel products. Experts have warned that the restoration of the price stabilization and recovery levy and its attainment increase the prices of liquefied petroleum gas and would further decrease the commodities consumption, and the rate would worsen the plight of the ordinary consumers. Liquefied petroleum gas LPG prices has experienced a 5% adjustment on March 3, 2022. This follows the restoration of the price stabilization and recovery levy on fuel products. Experts have warned that the restoration of the price stabilization and recovery levy and its attendant increase in the price of LPG will further decrease the commodities consumption rate and worsen the plight of the ordinary consumer. The LPG Marketers Association says A rapid change in prices is affecting their business due to the decline in consumption rate of LPG. Government has set an agenda to make the product accessible to many by increasing the consumption of the commodity from 25% to 50% by 2030. But many have argued that this objective may not be achievable considering the speed with which the commodity price is skyrocketing. Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority has said it is discussing with the Finance and Energy Ministries to find a manageable solution to the persistent rise in fuel prices. Be it for business. You can get more business news on